right, here we go. Welcome back, friends. Just about to call up my friend Steve Lewis. I have to remind him of something. The warranty on his 1932 Ford with the metal flake paint has recently expired. I need to tell him he needs to renew it. Mr. Lewis, are you there?
Hello.
I
Yeah.
understand you have a 1932 Ford. You've used it in several drag races, and the warranty is up on that. Would you care to renew it?
Already?
I mean, you bought it in 1963 or so. It expired maybe
What?
last year, year before.
Oh, man. I'm gonna. Well, I was gonna get Car Shield, but I think I better renew. So put
Well,
me down.
you could join our car club. We've got all
Okay,
kinds of things, an
that's
XKE, you
yes,
know.
yeah. Tell me about that car club. You got
Uh,
matching jackets or?
oh yeah, and we wear them wherever we cruise, you know.
Okay, so count me in.
Perfect, very good. So, and then pretty soon you can trade in that little deuce coupe, get yourself a nice cherry coupe to replace it.
That sounds good.
All
That's
right,
good.
very good, very good. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for your time.
Thank you for the call. Bye.
Oh, and what do you know? Steve's right here. Steve, how we doing?
Oh, how about that? Great. How good to see you, Alex.
Hey, always good to be back. I see you're outside today. Get some fresh air and some sun as our summer is gradually disappearing. But luckily, with the Beach Boys, we always have an endless summer.
Well said.
So, Steve, you and I, we've done 6 videos together, 4 volumes of unusual Beach Boys songs, 2 on box sets, and today we're going to hit some of the stuff that doesn't quite fit into any of those compartments. So, figured today we talk anthologies, compilations, odds and ends, that sort of thing. Steve, what do you think of Beach Boys anthology albums?
I think they're fantastic. They've certainly gotten better over the years. And you can almost, well, as we'll see, you can almost sort of break them down into different eras, where there were the early ones where you get a grab bag of tracks, and then later on you begin to get deep dives into different albums. And I certainly never thought I'd see a time where there are far more alternate versions and album or records from the vaults than there are original releases. And of course the Beach Boys just had such a wealth of unreleased material that it's really been fun to see what's come out over the years.
Absolutely. And we should have more new things, or new old things in some cases, coming out on the horizon as well. So there's always more things to look forward to. You know, the Beach Boys is almost a bottomless pit of incredible music. And that's what makes it so fun, I think, to be a collector. So Steve and I, of course, this video off the cuff, just a discussion, not a debate. We're going to go through several different anthology and compilation albums today. Please comment some of your favorites below. Don't forget to check out Steve's channel at the Beach Boys Basement there. Steve, are you ready to go back to 1981?
1981, I remember it like it was yesterday.
There you go. Did you buy 10 Years of Harmony when it was
I
brand new?
sure did. And I remember being a little steamed about it because there were two previously unreleased tracks, but I needed to spend, I forget what it was, like $11 for a double album. And yeah, I had just in 1980 become a Beach Boys completist, and I had to buy it for San Miguel and Sea Cruise, which were the previously unreleased tracks.
Okay, and Sea Cruise, even today, remains exclusive to this. You can't get it anywhere else. I'll hold up my CD too. That leads me to a point, something that I thought of when I was kind of prepping for this video. There's a song on here. I wondered how familiar you were with it, especially back in 1981. It's a Beautiful Day from Americathon. Did you have that in your
I
collection?
had the Americathon album, and the reason that I bought it pre being a Beach Boys completist because I was an Elvis Costello completist.
Oh, okay.
There's a song on there called Crawl into the USA, which is otherwise unavailable at the time anyway from Elvis Costello. But I did like It's a Beautiful Day, and I was enough of a Beach Boys fan to play it a lot. And I saw Americathon in the theater.
Okay, I have the DVD here. You know, it's not a great movie, but
No,
but in some ways it was ahead of its time, I think. Because some things it gets almost freakishly right in terms of
hmm.
like people liking trash TV, you know, in terms of people not knowing how to handle, economic and environmental crises, that kind of
Yeah,
thing. And I think it's aged better than some of its contemporaries, like the
right.
Kentucky Fried Movie, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, Americathon. So I think the most, or I should say, the main reason people watch this today is because of "It's a Beautiful Day," which is a great song. I wish the Beach Boys had done more with it.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason I went to see it was, we're back to pre-MTV. So the chance to see Elvis Costello, because he appears in a short clip in the movie,
Yeah.
I want to see that short clip of Elvis Costello more than anything.
Okay, that's fair. And of course, in the movie, the U.S. has annexed the U.K. and made it the 51st state called Limey Land, which is, it's its own weird thing, but maybe one of those jokes that hasn't aged too well.
Yeah,
But okay, that's pretty cool. And of course, the mix on here is different than the mix we've seen on Made in California or on 10 Years of Harmony. But still, it's such a great song, and I wish the group had done more
yeah,
with it. But
yeah,
so. I think the main reason I like 10 Years of Harmony is that we take a section of time in the Beach Boys catalog and every album gets recognized. There's something from all the studio albums, which you probably had about 1980, I take it. You collected them all. And then plus we get, those single mixes. If you have the LP, if you have the CD, you get the album mixes for some of them. For some of them, it's always one or the other. Like Lady Linda is always the album mix, that kind of thing. But I like that because so many sets that are compilations, they focus on one particular album or one particular period of time way too much and they completely ignore the others. So at least we get something from everything, including Beach Boys in concert and Pacific Ocean Blue on here. So, Steve,
yeah.
what are
I
your
feel the
thoughts?
same way that though I resented having to buy records that I already owned to get two that I didn't. I did think it was a nice compilation, really well balanced, as you say, hit all the eras, and it was pretty listenable. I mean, sometimes you jump from like Howland to MIU, and it's pretty jarring, but
Right.
I thought it was a nice compilation. I'm sure the reason that they included San Miguel of all things was because at the time it was one of only two unreleased Beach Boys songs that had been bootlegged.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah, it
that.
had come out. There was this double EP that came out. I think I got it in December 1980, and it had the other one. This had San Miguel, and I just got my pay, along with a live version of Heroes and Villains, and Al Jardine and Johnny Rivers on some PBS show talking about what is melody, and an outtake of Good Vibrations that somebody recorded off the radio. I mean, it's real low quality stuff, but it was the only sort of Beach Boys boot that existed at the time. And I always figured that that's why they chose San Miguel to go on, because it was already out among fans on this.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even realize that because, of course, today's San Miguel, it's been on multiple box sets. It's on, of course, Feel Flows. You can get some of the backing vocals you're looking for, that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. And I noticed that image, of course, would pop up in something we're going to talk about later in this video, too. But and one more thing for 10 Years of Harmony, Steve, if you don't mind. What are your thoughts on River Song, both the song and including it here, Dennis Wilson's River Song?
I I thought anything that would get Dennis Wilson's solo album a little more coverage was a great thing at the time.
Okay, very good. Because I'm sure some Beach Boys fans, maybe who didn't collect their solo work, things like that, would be like, what's this song? I don't understand this. But the group did do it live. Like it's a Dennis
Yeah,
Wilson solo song, but it has Beach Boys connections. So
yeah, I'd sure
that
like
was
an official release of a live Beach Boys version of it.
I don't know if there are any good quality ones that seem to
Yeah,
survive. All the bootlegs I've heard are, would have been
yeah,
worth
yeah,
releasing, that kind of thing. But yeah,
right.
10 Years of Harmony, a fun set. Of course, the big single, Come Go With Me, and indeed, Come Go With Me became recognized as a Beach Boys song because of this album. I've never been able to figure out why that was picked as a single because for MIU, that was just an album cut. I don't even know if they did it live back then. So,
Yeah, I don't
um,
know. I don't know what the thinking was on it, actually. That's a
I've
good question.
never found anything, even from like contemporary sources that say, so and so loved the song so much they said, oh, it should be a single. Nothing
Hmm.
like that. So
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
that's a good question. I'll have to see what I can find out on that.
Yeah. So all right. Want to jump ahead a couple years, Steve?
Sure.
All right, this is one we've kind of sort of talked about before. We did this as part of our weirdest Beach Boys track series, and you said you bought this new in 1983 and how
Yeah,
exciting it
yeah.
was.
Yeah, there was that Australian, I think the Australian Rarities came out ahead of it that I bought on.
Around the same time. I'm not sure which one came
Yeah,
first. Is that the Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys rarities, something
yeah,
like that? It
yeah.
has that
Ends with
cartoon
live,
cover.
what I'd
Yeah.
say in Australia. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then this was, apart from the cover, which I thought was ridiculous. And who's that guy? I mean, maybe I said this before, but who the hell is that guy?
No idea. So I don't doubt
Got a
this
lot
was
of
so.
nerve putting himself on a Beach Boys album cover, whoever he is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This was made so teenage boys would buy it, and
yeah, yeah.
sell a new
But
Beach Boys album this
I
way.
remember looking at the track listing and being just really amazed and really enthused about it. I think the only song that we absolutely hadn't heard was Land Ahoy. If I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
So
yeah,
um,
and
I would.
I don't think I knew that there was a version of with a little help from my friends because
Yeah,
some of
those
the
were late in Hawaii outtakes.
yeah I because there were these books. Well, this Dominic Priori, or is it not Dominic
Is
Priori?
that Byron Priest's
Priest,
book?
Byron
Okay,
Priest's
yeah.
book, listed and gave a lot of detail on unreleased Beach Boys stuff. And then by the time Rarities came out, the Brad Elliott Surfs Up book had listed some other unreleased stuff. And it seemed like a lot of stuff now, but boy, those two books barely scratched the surface of what actually existed in the vaults.
I mean,
And
you figure so many things from Rarities popped up on here, of course, which we'll get to this a little bit later. And a lot of stuff, I think, like Cotton Fields you can find very easily today. The Old Lang Syne without Dennis speaking, that can be found
yeah,
pretty easily. A lot of this stuff, like you could assemble this,
right.
if you didn't have the record,
They
that
have
kind of
most
thing.
of it. Yeah. I mean,
The
You're
the
Welcome, The Lord's Prayer.
yeah. Bluebirds Over the Mountain's a bit tricky because it's that weird mix that
Yeah,
doesn't quite make any sense.
right.
But I think everything else.
Determine in My Room was cool.
Yep, that was a cool outtake on the first heard that on the Surfer Girl Shutdown Volume 2 CD, that kind of thing. So everything here, I think by today's standards, a lot of people don't try to collect this album, mostly because it's such a scattered thing. We have
Right.
1962 through about 1969, 1970.
Yeah.
Today we wouldn't get a set quite like
Right. Well,
this.
all these early ones were so scattered. And I was thinking, am I right in thinking that to back up just for a
Yeah,
second, if we
no,
could,
go ahead.
I think I'm right that San Miguel and Sea Cruise represented the very first time we'd gotten anything released out of the Beach Boys vaults, so to speak. On
I I would say so, unless you count maybe like a non-album single or something. But
uh,
I
yeah.
I would think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything
I mean, I
weird
know there were
on.
songs that they had recorded and finished up, like When Girls Get Together, and put on later albums or
Yeah,
things
Cool
like
Cool
that. But
Water,
I think the
that
first
kind of
sort of
thing.
previously unreleased archival thing came here, so which I thought made it a good place to start. And then we got into these sort of grab bag uh, releases of previously unreleased stuff. Like you say, it's all over the map. It wouldn't hold up so well today.
Right, and there is some cool stuff here, and nowadays you can get everything else. When I first bought
Right.
this record, 15 years ago, you couldn't get. I think I Was Made to Love Her, a couple of the other things, but mine's in really bad shape. The cover is, the record's fine, but glad to have it though. It is kind of a product of its time, and
Right. Well, and
uh,
the other thing that was kind of nice at the time was it gave us some liner notes to explain what it was.
mhm.
Because so often in those days you get no information, just the song, and this at least gave you some intelligent liner notes to know what it was you were listening to.
Absolutely. And the picture collage on one side, you flip it over, the liner notes were on the other. And Brad Elliott, of course, worked on this. And he has a whole website devoted to this album. There you go. I was going to get mine down off my wall, but Steve did, so I didn't have to. But very cool. Brad Elliott says this album failed due to all like the rights issues. between who owned particular songs, things like that. We've talked about like breakaways on Spirit of America and stuff like that. He said how the outtake tracks, like the alternate good vibrations, fell into a weird gray area, and that this album was, suppressed due to like copyright stuff and right
Oh,
stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily true,
probably
but
explains also why there's such a big gap before we get anything else like
yep,
that.
that's true too, because
Rarities too.
releases like Sunshine Dream, that kind of stuff around the time, they're all over the place because I don't doubt there was definitely some stuff behind the scenes. And he talks about the one track that didn't make the cut that was planned for Rarities and not included. That was Pamela Jean, the original, I think it's the original Car Crazy Cutie. So that was, of course, later released. I have it on my Brian Wilson Pet Project CD. But so pretty cool. That I think that would have fit okay on
Oh,
Rarities.
that'd have
Might
been
depend,
great. I'd have been so
yeah,
excited to get that.
maybe
Yeah.
where they put it. I don't know. But all right. Steve, what's next? Christmas or Endless Harmony
Um,
or
I
something
was thinking
else?
it was made in USA, but
Oh,
wherever you
that's
want to
right.
go with it.
Knew I was forgetting
And
something
I
from
don't
the
know that
80s.
this really counts because there's really no archival really, it's got a couple of new tracks on it at the time.
Right.
And it
So,
does
and
go ahead.
that's
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, why it sort of fits in here and sort of doesn't
We'll we'll
because
we'll put it in anyway.
yeah, we haven't talked about it. So
Yeah.
you and I have talked about all kinds of stuff, but not about this. So did you buy
Yeah.
this new in 1986?
I did, and I resented it even more than than having to buy Endless Harmony to get because Rock and Roll to the Rescue had already come out as a single.
Right.
So I was buying it for one track, which was a cover version of California Dreamin', which I like now, but at the time I thought, boy, we don't need another version of California Dreamin'. The Mamas and Papas did it right the first time. So it was something that I wasn't really enthused to be buying anyway. But being a completist, I plunked down my whatever it was by this time, $17 or whatever,
Yeah.
picked it up.
Now, I will say I like that we get a few things we hadn't seen on very many previous Beach Boys compilation albums. We get what Caroline Knows on here, I think. And then we get some of the stuff that was a little newer that hadn't been on those ones from like the early mid 70s. Rock and roll music had been a successful single. Of course, Come Go With Me was somehow a successful single from this album for some reason. Get You Back, which would have been brand new. So I kind of get what they're trying to do, but you can't really say it's a studio album, but you can't really say it's a greatest hits thing either. It's
Yeah.
kind of a little bit of everything.
Right. And I'm sure it brought in some new fans in 86, who didn't
Oh
have
yeah.
those releases. And it wasn't until just a year or two ago when I talked about 1986 on my channel that a viewer, George Hean, let me know that it's an alternate version of Wouldn't It Be Nice that's on this.
Hmm.
And I just assumed it was the usual version, so I never played it. And it
I
wasn't until
gotcha.
you let me know just a couple of years ago that it's the version with where Brian sings the middle eight, because apparently they couldn't locate the original version at the time that's on this. So I had something that I would have really enjoyed, but I didn't know to look for it. And so it was decades after I bought it that I found out it was even there.
Right, and then you figure I think that's the same one they used on Still Cruising. It's in the Big Chill soundtrack, that
Yes,
same
yeah,
alternate
that's
take,
correct.
and probably the Sunkissed album too, which is kind of like
Right.
a single disc version of this,
Yeah.
sort of.
But I never played
So,
any of those because I didn't know it was anything
yeah,
unusual.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't say anywhere on the package, even on like the cassette or the CD, that came later. So interesting stuff. All right, Steve, now are we into the 90s? We made a list, but
Yeah, yeah. Now we're skipping way ahead. What, 12 years?
yep, just
We're into,
about.
we're into the CD era.
All right. Well, I've been showing my CDs off. What's next on our list today, Steve?
I think
All right.
it's Endless Harmony or the Endless Harmony soundtrack.
I guess I should. I haven't watched the documentary in a long time, and I need to, because I remember
Yeah.
it being really good, but I need to watch it
Does your
again.
does your version have Japanese subtitles on it
That I
that you
don't know.
can't shut off?
I'll have to look and see. I don't
I
remember it having
I
those, but
believe I could be wrong and I could be thinking of something else, but I think my version of the DVD has Japanese subtitles that I cannot figure out how to shut off.
okay, I'll have to try this out because Ever since I started my channel, I've wanted to do a video on Endless Harmony soundtrack. I've never been able to because of all the remixing and editing and reissues and stuff with
Yeah.
different mixes and different tracks. And I've looked online, huge arguments and fan forums and stuff about which mix is on which version. Like this is a 1998 reissue, so some
Yeah.
of it's original, some of it's not. And every
Oh,
time I've sat down to write it and work on it, I've never been able to finish it. So.
so there's different mixes on different releases of it?
Yep. The California Girls mix is different. The Dennis Wilson radio promo is different on the reissue. There's a hidden
How's
track
that
on.
different?
They use a completely different ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
there's a
okay.
hidden track on here. They have some vocals. I think they're from Kiss Me Baby, hidden Kiss Me Baby vocals at the end. That kind of stuff. It's
Oh,
all over the
well, shit.
place.
Well, that I'd pick up because I don't I won't buy I don't like to buy a remix. Remix is really, to me that's like changing the smile on the Mona Lisa to remix something. But unless it's something that's archival, and then obviously they can do whatever they want with it. But if it's something that was originally released, I want to hear it as close to the original form as possible. But if there's actually different material on that, I definitely want to pick that up. Thanks for letting me know about that.
Yeah, but it's weird because like even this 98 one, this is like a second printing. So some of it is the original, some of it was starting to change for the 2001
Uh,
and it's such a can of worms and like I said, it's kicked my butt every time I've tried to make a video about it. So,
yeah,
but one day I will
yeah,
somehow.
yeah. There was a lot. I mean, there was some cool stuff on it. Sailplane song, and
Yeah. I
Loop
like a
De
lot of the live stuff on here. We get
Barbara.
the
Yeah,
medley, we get some songs that we don't generally see live, Wonderful, and mixed with Don't Worry Bill, that kind of
yeah.
thing, Long Promised Road. So most of those are available elsewhere,
Right.
thanks to
And
stuff
again,
like
these sort of grab bag type releases kind of become obsolete as we get deep dives into the individual albums and it gets put on box sets and
right, and but
yeah.
still, especially for the didn't buy mine till
1998 though, this was pretty
yeah.
cool.
Because I bought this one, I think my brother got it for me as a birthday present, like the mid 2000s, late 2000s, and it
Oh,
was so cool to listen to because I had heard next to nothing on here, so pretty cool stuff.
cool.
Alrighty. Now, Steve, we got a few more minutes here. You want to talk the other thing from 1998, Ultimate
Yeah,
Christmas? I have the reissue here, the abridged reissue. We have
yeah,
talked about Ultimate Christmas before. We did our video last winter,
yeah.
so
And I'm sure I must have complained about the cover before.
I don't think you did too much in the
Oh
last video. So.
man, if you look at it long enough, you realize, oh, Brian's dressed as Santa Claus. But otherwise, to me, it's like, how is that Christmas? So
Oh well.
really, apart from anything else, I can't believe that it would have sold many copies as a Christmas record with this cover. The stuff on it was cool to hear. Finally, to hear "Merry Christmas" from the Beach Boys.
Yeah. So and then
Some of it.
they took out Christmas Peggy Sue for its reissue a couple years later, but everything else is the same.
Okay.
And it was a nice release there because my Ultimate Christmas is packed away with my Christmas stuff. I wasn't going to dig it out. So, but
Has that got the liner notes in it?
let's look. I think
Because
it
the liner
does.
notes were pretty good on this.
They're either the same or very
Oh,
similar. They got
I'm
a
sure they
whole,
didn't rewrite them.
yeah,
So okay,
just
good. Cool.
omitted the stuff that they didn't need anymore, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it is a fun set. And again, this one's out of print too, this reissue. So today they want people to buy like the little bargain bin one, that kind of thing. Doesn't want to go back in, so I'll just hold up the booklet. But yeah, it is a fun set, but someday we need a proper Merry Christmas from the Beach Boys, full album, kind of fancy release instead of these, Christmas album plus some later odds and ends, that kind of thing. So at least I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's one of the things with, now we're getting into the kind of release where you get the original album plus bonus tracks, which
Right.
you know, I've already, of course, the fans have already got the Beach Boys Christmas album. I mean, maybe they don't have it on CD. I don't know. Or maybe they figure that this allows a fan to get rid of and only have one disc. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's kind of hard to say, but Christmas album stuff, the sessions they've been real stingy with. We don't have too many sessions, backing tracks, things like that. But in terms of material, like availability of material, I think we've actually got quite a bit of stuff. The songs are all over the place. It's pretty
Yeah.
easy to get a copy of I think the Christmas album. They release those colorful vinyls every year, red or ice blue,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So interesting stuff. All right, well. Steve, we got about 3 minutes. You want to hold it here
Oh,
today and pick up again
okay.
for
Well,
our
you want
friends
to hit
later?
Hawthorne, California?
That's it, Hawthorne,
Quick.
California. It'll be a nice farewell
That
for.
seems to kind of close out this grab bag era of.
So, I still like the review that called this an official bootleg because it
Yeah,
does kind of feel like that.
very
This is
apt. Yeah.
all over the place. When I did a deep dive on this, the one thing that surprised me the most, almost no new songs that we haven't heard. More of it's remixes, instrumental stuff like that. In fact, there's only two, and there's only one live track if you don't count like live in studio and rehearsal kind of
Right.
stuff. So, mostly just if you already like the Beach Boys, you get this so you could have all those fancy new updates and frills and stuff. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was, for me because there's so many remixes on it. That hearing sort of the was this the one that had all the a cappella versions on it?
It has some anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those are fun to hear once, but or break out every once in a while.
Sure.
Um, yeah, it appeared to be much more than it turned out to be. I mean, there's some cool stuff on it, but a lot of it to me was sort of like you say, and again, so much of this now has been superseded by later issues.
Yep, let's say a lot of those acapellas and backing tracks and things got remixed and redone on sets where they feel a little more organic because,
Yeah,
we have a particular time period to
got
look
a new
at.
context. Yeah,
But yeah, but I mean, it's still a fun set. I like that they use a lot of the Endless Harmony clips to get some sound in there. You can tell they looked at like the Beatles, excuse me, Beatles anthology and said, we need this for the Beach Boys, but
right,
not quite as good as those original
right.
three
Yeah,
anthology
I think
albums.
all these early CDs were very inspired by Beatles anthology.
Yeah, absolutely. So, alrighty, Steve, want to leave it there for today?
Sounds great. It's good
All
talking
right.
to you as always. Thanks. I got to go listen to this stuff again. Now I'm all excited to hear it.
Hey, no problem. Steve, I have another one coming very soon, so we'll see you next time.
Great.
So long,
Thanks.
everybody.
Bye.